All right, I think we should start this thing. I think we should start flipping through these pages. All right, so this is another first impressions flip through stream where I take a game that I've recently picked up and I flip through it and I kind of just talk about how the game looks and feels. I'm not gonna read everything. I'm not gonna read like all the text and everything out loud, but I will get the vibes and the gist of everything and then see how it goes from there. I'm super excited to talk about this game. We're not playing. We're reading My Body is a Cage by Snow. Snow is one of my absolute favorite designers. I think everything they make is just incredible. Dot Dungeon Remastered, I got my copy a couple weeks ago, is probably my game of the year in terms of indie RPGs. It's really good. And so when I saw that Snow has a sale going on their website, I thought, well, I've been wanting to pick this game up for a while. Let me go grab it. So I grabbed My Body is a Cage. I'm really excited about this. So let's without sort of further ado, let's dive into this thing. Let's check this out. Awesome cover, obviously very cool cover. One thing that stood out to me, I only flipped through to the credits page and then I stopped reading after that. One thing I noticed is that Snow did all the writing and the layout, which is awesome. Wrote the game, designed the game, wrote it, and then laid it all out, which is pretty badass when you look at the first two pages on their own. There's a bunch of great people who are attached to this project too. It's cool to see that Adam and Gordy did some additional pages. Not sure what those are, but Adam and Gordy are great people. Great list of people in the dungeon section. And to see Jared was part of the development process makes me think this is going to be a good game. If you're not familiar with Jared Sinclair, really sharp designer and just person in the TTRPG space. So cool to see that Jared was on this. Let's read the opening page just to get a sense of what this game is all about, because I think I have a vague idea, but I don't know for sure. So we should figure out what this game is. All right, you're broke or struggling. Nice. Life is hard. You go to school and work a job, just trying to make enough for rent. Maybe you want to be a YouTuber. Maybe you want to be or draw a webcomic. Perhaps you want to travel or at least move out of your parents' house. You gotta find a way to make money. In this game, you play as a person, someone other than yourself, in a slice of life story. Okay. It's nice to... because all that sounds very real, so it's nice to be not me. One player is the GM and narrates the story, and then everyone else is gonna be the players here. When you sleep, you dream of a dungeon. It's filled with treasure. If you steal it, you awaken richer. Nice. This is your chance to fight back against the struggle of life, but the dungeon holds dangers and you are still just a person. That's exciting. That's an exciting premise to me of like dungeon delving as just people. That sounds awesome. So be careful, good luck, don't die. That's awesome. I think when I first looked at this game, I had seen Snow kind of talk about the two worlds, like the dungeon world and then the real life world. And I think Snow even mentioned Persona as like a touchdown. And that's like the vibe that I get from this. The Persona series where you're just teens trying to make it by in life, and life is hard, and then suddenly you get thrown into a thing that you have to deal with. And you go on into these dungeons. So it's cool. That's the vibe I'm getting so far. And I believe I remember seeing Snow mention Persona as like a touchstone somewhere. God damn, this layout rocks. How to play. Doing things. How do we do things in this game? Whenever a character attempts to do something, GM's going to ask them, oh wait, the GM or another player can ask them to roll. That's cool. It's not just GM says roll. Other players can call on it, which I like. 2d6, 10 or higher, then you succeed. That's hard. If you get under a 10, then you decide how you fail, and the GM decides how the world reacts to that failure. If no one asks for a roll, then you auto succeed. That's cool. That's really cool. So, like, at least based off of just at first blush, you're gonna fail a lot, because getting a 10 or higher on 2d6, I'm gonna assume there's probably some modifiers, but if there aren't, that's hard. But the cool thing is, players are calling for rolls, and if you fail, you get to decide what happens. That's interesting to me, right? Like, because I would then, as a player, be seeking opportunities to roll, just because I would have fun in determining what failure looks like. This is something that I remember reading this in the Resistance Toolkit that like Grant and Chris wrote. Where like players are going to seek opportunities to fail. I think like the fun players are the ones who try to get their characters into the shit. So this is awesome. And then the GM does like a more macro response to your failure, which is neat. Dice pool. If you do risky things, you collect dice in your pool. You can add dice from your pool to any of your rolls to make them more likely to succeed. Ah, that's how we do it. Instead of modifiers, we're just going to add more dice. But at the end of the session, you can trade in dice left over for ability stats and money. Ah, that's the cool twist. That's the push and pull, right? You roll 3d6. Your odds of getting 10 or higher jump up a whole bunch. But you're losing out on that opportunity to benefit later on. That's a cool twist. All right, opposition. If there's conflict, both sides will roll their 2d6s in an attempt to get a higher number than the other one. Winner decides how the conflict turns in their favor. Loser decides if they want to escalate or back down. Cool. It looks like that's probably it in terms of mechanics, which is great. That's all you need. And it's a cool system. I love how responsibility is sort of spread across the group, and that the players are the ones determining what failure looks like at a micro level, probably, and then a more macro level decision from the GM. And this push and pull is awesome. What a page this is. What a page. Each one is part of you, an emotion. So these are our stats, an emotion or a vibe, something aesthetic. Maybe roll the dice to generate stats and think about the kind of person they could make. When asked to make a roll, choose one of your stats and add the bonus to the total. Okay, so we do have some modifiers. Okay, so we can hit 10 plus. Whenever you use a negative stat, add a die to your pool. Sweet. So we're seeking opportunities to do the things that we're not good at. If you use all 6 stats in a session, add another die to the pool. That's fucking awesome. That's really good, right? Because what happens in so many games is that you design a character, you're good, you have a stat that you're like particularly high at, and then you just try to only do actions with that stat, or only do anything that lines up with that thing that you know you're good at. And then you avoid everything else. But this is like, you got to use all 6. And it sounds like some of them are bad for you. So that's awesome. If you do something with your stat and other players think it's cool, add a die to your pool. Awesome. Rule of cool. You can add a number of dice from your pool to other rolls, discard them afterwards. And then here's our stats. Holy cow. And then you assign these bonuses to your stats. So you assign modifiers to the stats. Ah, okay. So it's not that we look and see it's not that we look and see if the word is negative, but we're looking and seeing if like we've attached a negative value to it. So I'm just kind of curious, like, do I have a... I just want to roll some stats real quick. I want to roll some stats and see what I get. Let me get my Z100 out. Now I'm just curious. Now I'm just curious to see what kind of stats I would get. I got a 66. So I have discouraged. Roll 3d10 for... Wait, am I even doing this? Roll 3... Oh, because there's different things. Oh, because these are negative things. These are like positive things. 3d100 for each list. Ah, okay. There's so many different things that you could get. So 66, if I rolled it over and the good stuff is giving me scholarly. But if I had been rolling it over here, I would have been discouraged. Let me just roll one more because I'm curious. I got 10. Gifted or a liar. That's pretty funny. This is who you are, who you pretend to be, who you present as. This is your mask or who you want to be. It's who you've always been. Once per session, use your genre to roll double your dice, pull the moon from the sky. This is your theme song. That rocks. So then you have a genre. D100 genres that make up your character. After getting your genre, add 1 to 2 of your stats and -1 to 2 more. Oh, so we're really moving the threshold of these things. All right, I gotta know what my genre is. I got 23. Indie. Okay. Yeah. I got the indie genre. That sounds about right. Great. Love that for me. Already I love my character, right? Like, sorry, my phone is like freaking out about my car for some reason. So I have to just make sure that my car is okay. Seems fine. What a cool character I am. I mean, I didn't roll on my stats, but like, what are some of these others? Magic realism. Dying Earth as a genre is such a good genre. What other ones like jump out to me that are like super good? I want my genre to be documentary. God, how do you come up with 100 of these? Bow down to you, Snow. That's a hell of a list you put together here. All right, our skills. So we have stats, we have a genre, and now we have skills. Write down 2 weirdly specific things that you know about. Whenever you do something related to one of those 2 things, you can add a die to your pool. That's cool. And then the cool thing about this is like, so this is a skill, right? It's something that you are weirdly knowledgeable about, and doing it gets you dice in your pool rather than like adding a modifier, right? Or like, you know, anything like that. This is how you feed your pool, is to like find opportunities to do the weird thing that you just happen to be really good at. Well, like this is something that once per session you can call on to like really mess with your dice roll. So there's different ways that these stats are going to interact with how we interact as players with the game. All right, we've got an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. God, look at these pages. These pages are so good. How dare Snow do all this so nicely? All right, our ideal. This is a core tenet of your life, something you believe with all your heart. Once per session, verbalize your ideal in your unique way to add a die to your pool. Cool, so we're feeding our pool this way. A bond, something you share with another person. Once per session, think deeply about that person and narrate your inner monologue to the rest of the table. Yes. That person adds a die. That's cool. This is your weakness, and it might spread and multiply if you're not careful. Once per session, your opponent can target your flaw and add 1 die to their pool. I wonder if there's like a lot of opportunities for the players to go against each other. Like, I wonder if that happens. You have a job. Bummer. When you tell us about it, roll 2d6. Success means it was an okay day. Gain a die. So this is when we're not in our dream space. Backstory. Oh shit. I scrolled way too far. Backstory. Think about your labels. Tell us about your looks. Write down 2 things you always carry with you. Think about your family. Maybe write it down. Yeah, right? You have a job. Fuck. What a bummer. You can remember these things, and they can help you add things to your die. So this is like helping just build your characters. So this is a bunch of stuff to just really build our characters into really interesting people, which is cool because we are not heroes and stuff, right? So we don't have like classes and all these powers and abilities and things like that. We're people. But already, I think this is just an interesting way of describing people. I also love that the stats aren't stats, at least because there's so many of them. They're not the stats that we would normally think of. I'm sure those stats are in there, but like it's just so many other things, which is cool. Time. The day is split into 3 8-hour periods. Not much free time there, such as life. God damn, Snow. Focus in on moments that seem emotional. Choose an activity to do during school and work, and roll 2d6 to see how well it goes. Check the town map for ideas. Alright, so we kind of have our chunks here in terms of like when we're doing certain things. So 1/3 of the day we're at school, 1/3 of the day we're at work, and 1/3 of the day we're dreaming. And that's where we're going to be doing like our dungeon delving and stuff like that. It's a really sad clock. Oh, life. Life. What fun. What fun. This game is hitting me heavier than I thought it was going to. Alright, here's our calendar. Ah, this is definitely making me get Persona vibes now. So we've got a 31-day calendar. We're starting off right away with the country road drive. These days don't exist anymore. Wow. Don't talk to me on this day, please. Big math test. Kelly's party. Double shift. End of the semester, let's do something. To figure out what days you work that week, roll a d8. On a 1 through 7, you work a day gone. On an 8, you get a day off. Do that until all days are filled. Which means if you have a day off, if you manage to roll a couple days off, it's a chunk of time that you get to do whatever you want. Add holidays and other fun stuff, deadlines, plan nightmare incursions, etc. So what do oh my god, what do you do? I'm so bad at reading things. When you're not dreaming, you'll go on dates, work your job, survive class, all that sort of stuff. On the next page, you'll see a bingo card with various activities. Bingo card! Crossing them off adds a die to your pool, and scoring a bingo adds 10 dice to your pool. At the beginning of each session, you'll choose one of 3 cards: fighter, rogue, or magic user. Beginning of each session, so it's not always the same thing. You can also make your own bingo cards. I haven't even looked at this, but I feel like this game is just so cool, right? We got the calendar. We have the really interesting way of designing your characters. We have this like 3-segment gameplay loop of time. We're filling the calendar up. There's a bingo card for like things that we're looking for. All right, so here's our bingo card. And this is for the classes. Not the classes, but like these sort of archetypes. I wonder if, because this is the beginning of each session, so in a session you're trying to get a bingo. I don't think you hold on to this, right? So if I would want to be a magic person. No, I don't know. Yeah, I'd want to be a magic person. So if I was a magic person, this is my card, and I think in one day I'm trying to bingo this card. Free space, write down something you did while no one was looking. Cool, you got that, right? And then I'm trying to accomplish as many of these things in our session, which sounds like it's a bunch of different things, right? Do something unexpected at your job, so that has to happen during the workday. So if I have a day off, I can't get this. So I'm not looking to find the way to bingo off of this. And then like some of these could happen at any time, school, work, or in the dungeon. Like read a dead language could happen in the real world. But it could also, like, you could absolutely see that happening like a lot in the Nightmare dungeon. Create a spell and use it in the dungeon, right? This is so cool. So it's like beats, which are like my favorite form of advancement in all games. And it's a daily beat bingo card. And you get a bunch of dice if you pull it off. Right? Because you get... If you do something, you get a die, and you get 10 dice if you can pull off a bingo. I have no idea what you can do with 10 dice, but it sounds like a lot of dice. Hey, there's a healer, too. Oh, are there just a whole bunch more? Well, also make your own... So, this is technically the expanded version of the game. So, I'm guessing these are more. Oh, there's a healer. And a rival. That's cool. Alright, so... Ooh, what a blue page. What does an NPC look like in this game? Roll 66, or roll 6 stats just as you would for a player. Assign them. Id, ego, and super ego. Oh my god. The psychologist in me is triggered and activated and furious and intrigued all at the same time. Id, ego, and super ego. I mean, it's a game about dreams and nightmares and stuff like that, so I get it. I see you, Snow. I see what you're doing. Roll an ideal, place it with the id. Roll an insecurity, place it with the super ego. Interesting choices there for those. Very interesting choices. As a psychologist. When an NPC is met in the waking world, place these 3 parts of them on the random counter. If all 3 parts are brought together into one place in the dungeon, the NPC in the waking world will go through some awesome character growth or something else equally as fun. What a wild thing. Also, why is the Sugar Plum Fairy playing right now? That seems like a wild choice for this music station. I gotta change up the station. It's doing weird things. Let's just go to chill. What game are we looking at? We are looking at My Body is a Cage by Snow. It is truly fantastic. Truly, truly very, very good. From what we've seen so far. We're about a third of the way through the game. It's awesome. What? We got a drop table. Full of emojis. So, obviously I can't drop a die on the screen right now, but like you would drop... And this is when you meet an NPC in or out of a dungeon. I love this. Because, there's every dungeon crawler sort of game that I see has something like, what's the disposition of a monster or an NPC when you first meet them, right? And it's usually like, oh, sleepy, indifferent, angry, suspicious. And then you just roll. This is hilarious. Because, like, this is mad. This is also mad. But they're different types of mad. And then there's this one. And we all read emojis a little different from one another. And emojis have changed in terms of what they mean. So when Snow made this, a lot of these emojis had certain associations. And they've changed. It's so good. It's so good. Here's where we can make our NPCs in case we wanted to make an NPC or anything like that. Here's all their insecurities. Holy shit. Let's roll an insecurity for an NPC. Let's see what we get. Get 77. I can't help but flirt with all the pretty people. Can't help it. They're so pretty. That's awesome. That's super good. 100 of these. Coming up with 100 insecurities. I say, and then I realize like that. Yeah. Yeah, sure, of course. Loose lips sink ships and you can call me the Titanic is such a good phrase. I'm just looking at this list. It's so good. That's great. It's really, really good. Awesome. What a really great way to make an NPC. All right, you dream of a dungeon. So we've got our characters. We have ways of doing stuff with the core mechanic. We've got NPCs. Let's talk about the dungeon. Oh dear Lord. Wait a minute. Let me just rotate this. When you sleep, you dream of a dungeon. The first two items you circle from the word search are your starting equipment. These are the items your mind thought you'd need the most in this journey. When using them to aid in a die roll, add +1. A word search. A bingo card and a word search and an emoji drop table. I mean, what do I see here? What are the first two things that I see? Like, I can't believe lightning. I see lightning. What? I can't believe. What else do I see? Posh? It's not a thing. But I feel bad that I can't see words now. Flow. No, I see flow. Kunk. Oh man, what a wild way to do loot. That's so good. Whatever the first two things that you saw, that's your stuff. Bow. Hewn and bow. Those are great. Kunks. All right. Drone and grenade or grenaded. Oh, damn. Words can go backwards, diagonal, backwards, diagonal. Wow. That's really, really cool. This is like a series of mini games. We're just making characters right now. All right, we gotta realign everything. You get 10 slots to hold things, and each item takes 1 slot. If you can fit multiple things in your pocket, they can also fit together in a single slot. Buying stuff. Shop for items and other RPG books and games. Currency is 1-to-1. You don't need to stick to dungeon delving games. So, like, I go grab Ultraviolet Grasslands over there and just, like, get real weird psychedelic fantasy stuff. Or, honestly, I would grab any of Snow's games. I would grab any of Snow's games and, like, be super happy with it. Sun King's Palace? Yeah. Or, honestly, not Dungeon. That's really cool. Harm. When you fail a contest or fail to dodge an attack in the dungeon, cross out a slot in your inventory. Ah, okay. That's how we track health. If there's an item in that slot, you can't use it until the slot is healed. Cross out inventory slots heal at a rate of 1 per day. Okay. Status effects. Some attacks give you status effects. Bleeding. Poison, stuff like that. So this character has a switchblade, a water bottle, a Kit Kat bar, key ring, 100 gold coins, and poison. I think that's really cool, Cinebret. Like, doing something like that, children's books with equipment list, 100%, right? Because it's... I think that would be really fun to use. Spells! What a wild layout. Here's our spells. Here's status effects. Let me just... We got D20 spells here. Let's just roll D20. See what kind of weird spell we get. 2. Polymorph. Turn it into an animal of your choice. Let's roll one more. 19. Summon birds. Yes. Yes. Call a horde of birds to your location. That's exactly the spell I want. Converse with plants. The glowing ray of enlargement. Status effects. These are the sorts of things that we saw earlier. So these are things that are not necessarily like knocking out inventory slots, but are affecting your character one way or another. Oh, burning is really cool. Spreads to all adjacent inventory slots each turn until you put it out. So something gets burned, and then it just starts to take away your list. That's awesome. Alright, what does it mean to crawl in these nightmare dungeon things? Exploration turns take 10 minutes. It's looking around. Encounters. At the beginning of each stream, the game master rolls 2d6 and records the total. After each exploration turn, lowers that number by 1. You can also lower the number anytime the characters make a lot of noise. When the number reaches 0, you roll for a random encounter. Ah, okay. So you have time, right, to look around. Right, so if I was the dungeon master, I would roll 2d6. I rolled a 3, which is not very high, right? So after each exploration turn, so 3 turns of them exploring the dungeon, random encounter kicks in. Or if they do something that is loud, it could be even less time than that. Turns, 6 to 10 seconds. Action, move. Same thing with the it uses the opposition rule that we read at the very beginning. Each side rolling 2d6. Stats. Highest roll is their hit. Awesome. Your initiative is based off of the items that you're using. So, simple item, D4. Roll or add a D6 when also moving within the space or using a standard weapon like a sword. If you're using a ranged weapon, scroll, spell, stuff like that, D10. Roll a D20 when performing a particularly complicated task. Initiative. Dice rolls based on what action you want to perform in your turn. Oh, lowest goes first. Okay. That suddenly makes a lot more sense to me. I was like, wow, the person who's doing the complicated thing gets to go first, probably. But no. You get to go last, probably. You can make multiple rolls. Or wait. You can roll multiple dice to take multiple actions. Wow. Wow. Right? So you want to move, you have to roll a d6. You want to move and interact in the environment, you're rolling a d6 and a d8. You want to move, you want to interact in the environment and cast a spell, you're rolling a d20, a d8, and a d6, and you're doing them in that order. Lowest total goes first. I love indie RPGs. People make the coolest shit. This is such an interesting way of doing initiative. What do you want to do? That's going to add certain types of dice during your initiative roll, and then you're going to roll those up, add them up. That's how we determine the order. But during your turn, you get to do those things. or you know, a certain amount of things, because I think it says you perform an action and move. So you know, you would choose things accordingly. So cool. Here's how you run a monsters. Monsters are gonna do damage or status effects. They get dice per hit die. So Goblin has 1 hit die, takes 1 hit essentially to take them out. This is the dagger. This is how they attack things. And then if you kill it, you have 1 die to share as treasure. So someone's going to take that die. You can't all take the die. D10 encounters. Let's roll an encounter. So glad I brought all my dice. 5. Violent incursion. Something from a character's life. Oh shit! Into the dream with the intent to cause harm. That's cool. That's right. It's a nightmare that the dungeons are nightmares. So it makes sense that we would see stuff bleeding into the dream world. People with familiar faces, but also just like a bunch of goblins and a troll. An NPC superego tries to lure the players into a trap. Don't trust the superego. Man, don't do it. Don't trust any of it, but especially not the superego. More monsters. Here's a cool little bunch of monsters for us. What's the fairy do? Because Snow does cool phase stuff. 3 hit die, polymorph, invisibility, wings. Here's a dragon. Deals 10 damage. Which means it destroys you. Don't get bit. Wow. And then here's more. This is for monsters, right? Like, this is for... Wait, coworker desperate crying? Was that a thing? Did I miss that? Oh my... Jesus Christ. Alright. Alright, Snow. Okay. Okay. Roll 2d6 plus hit die. So this is the, like, how a monster is feeling, right? The emoji thing is for NPCs. This is for monsters. They might feel hangry. They might also just have a headache. They also might just be jamming out. You never know with these things. Let's roll, like, if a 3 hit die. Let's say we ran into the fairy, right? So that's plus 3 on this roll here. I rolled a 3. Oh, wait, 2d6. I didn't even roll close to the right thing. I was about to say, this isn't going to work. So I rolled 5 plus 3, so 8. It's a sleepy fairy making its bed. Nice. Traps. Super straightforward way to deal with traps. No way. Create a paper fortune teller to randomly generate treasure while exploring the dungeon. Instructions and diagrams are given on this page. Did you ever make one of these things when you were a kid? I remember making these. Thank you, Snow, for giving instructions how to make it, because I certainly don't remember how. So, like, you have the... I'm trying to think about, like, which parts are going to be on the outside. Alright, it starts with the 8. I think it'll be 1 through 8. And then... you know, you go through the thing. Wild! Snow must have had so much fun making this game. You can just get a big bundle of XP, gold, gear. Gain a gear token to spend whatever you need a piece of gear while in the dream. Sick. At the end of each session, so here's where our money dice come in. Your leftover dice can be used to level up your character. Skills. Discard a d6 to gain a new skill. Stats. Add +1 to a stat by rolling 2d6 and scoring double. The numbers are inside? Okay. I couldn't remember. I'm trying to imagine it. So it must be the 4 things on the outside, right? Melancholic, angry, love, happy. Any amount of d6 you gain that much money. If you have no dice left, the GM gets to decide another flaw for your plot. For your pilot. Interesting. Bond. Ideal. If all the inventory slots are taken, you are untethered from the waking world. Your body stays where it sleeps. Your soul is split into... Oh, this is the death page. I didn't read it. Your body stays where it sleeps. Your soul is split into 3 parts. Id ego and super ego. They wander the dungeon. If they are reunited, you will wake. Wow. That's pretty gnarly and cool. Is this a story? This is like a cool short story that's in it. I'm not going to read it right now out loud. Snow does this with their games. This is cool. This is Nevin and Jam. What did I say? This is a different vibe. This is Nevin and Jam. The stiff bargains, the intersection. The Stank Museum. The Pharmacy is really good. That's really good. Jam's art is just so good. Welcome to the town of Stiff Smiles. Every NPC is a puppet of the town. Wow. Corvette. So this is a little dream, little dungeon you can crawl. This is Adam Bass. Oh wait, there are other people that did the dungeons. You are in the dungeon. You look down on your hands, and they're not your hands. You're an animal. Oh, okay, Jim. Atkinson. So the rest of this is all dungeons and stuff like that you can play. Who made this? Oh, Emma. Wow. Each of these is just so wildly different. Is this That's a really distinct looking style. This in particular. Very cool. Crow Castle. We all love crows around here. It's Corvette City. I love Corvette City. And the Crow Castle and the Crow King. This is the one that I would play. Wow. So it's all, the rest of this is just really cool. And then here's your blank bingo card. Here's your character sheet. And here's the back cover. When you sleep, you dream of a dungeon. Inside the dungeon, there is money. When you steal it, you wake richer. Wow. Very good. Incredible. Amazing. Spectacular. Surprising nobody. Snow made a really good game. This was My Body is a Cage. First impressions are that it is amazing. Truly, truly incredible. What a game. What a book. What an idea. Absolutely love it. I believe, depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching this later, Snow is running a sale right now on itch to pick up this and like every other game that they've made. So check it out. It's really, really good. I've got the hard copy of this downstairs. I'm really glad that I have it. Because you saw how beautiful it was here. Having it in person makes it even cooler. And now I can drop die onto that emoji thing, which I'm going to go do. I hope you enjoyed the first impressions flip through. I had a lot of fun. Links to all the games and all that stuff will be in the VOD description down below. And I'll catch y'all later. Bye.